I promise to do everything in my power to protect this city.
I promise.
Our challenges on Miles Morales were following up a very successful video game and changing the hero that people love so much from Peter to Miles. Now, it was the creative spirit of problem solving, the passion that everyone had behind the project that allowed us to push through. And Sony was just there the whole time, like saying, what can we do to help you guys realize this vision?
You know, not to put too fine a face on it, there were fans, you know, some old school fans who didn't want to see a black Spider-Man, didn't want to see a Puerto Rican Spider-Man. So to me, getting as niche as possible is sort of a pushing back and saying, no, you know what? All of these characters, Matt Murdock, Daredevil is niche, and just like being Irish Catholic from Hell's Kitchen is a very specific place. Being, you know, black and Puerto Rican from Brooklyn is a very specific place, and there's no reason that one can become a universal hero, right? Just a superhero without labels, and that the other one has to be like, no, this is this superhero for these people kind of thing. I try to fight back against that whenever I tell stories. And again, I've been pretty lucky that I've worked with editors and artists and folks at Marvel who are just been super supportive of doing that.
Getting the crew to be as diverse as the character set is an ongoing challenge in the animation business and in the gaming business. And we're doing better all the time, but that is certainly a factor. And one of the benefits of, you know, the intention to have more inclusion on screen is that it really compels you to have more inclusion behind the screen.
Absolutely, I agree with that completely. And I know, like, bringing him to life, I don't think I was afraid of going too far, considering I'm a person of color. But I did feel like extra pressure of making sure that we do it right and making sure that it feels authentic. So a lot of things that we did here was asking people, like when we're animating Miles, and if he's doing a finisher, a lot of us have seen Spider-Man fight before, because there's been so many movies and so many games and TV shows with Spider-Man, but it's always been Peter. So we had this extra layer of what would be the Miles way of doing that be. Adding that personality to his character, to me, was extremely important. And to the rest of the team, we really wanted to push, like, this is Miles. This isn't just Peter Parker doing this as Spider-Man, this is Miles doing it. So adding that flavor into it, when he's swinging around the city, I definitely took inspiration from Spider-Verse with the way he would, like, jump off of a building. And that was one of the first tests I did to see how would he go from that. And then from a player's perspective, to make it not feel confusing, letting the player know that this is something that you can do. It's optional for you, but in a way putting the player in the shoes of Miles so that they feel like we are this character. And when Miles is upside down, when he's in his reverse fall, it brings a certain uncomfortability to the player, because as a player when you play games, you're taught when you're in a certain camera angle, this is how it looks when you know you have control. And what we wanted to do was say that get comfortable being uncomfortable. This is something that Miles is learning from. This is his way of swinging, and he's comfortable doing both ways, and he's figuring it out, and which ultimately makes him a better character, a better Spider-Man for finding it in his own way.
And I think there is something, especially during the quarantine, very satisfying about being Miles and swinging around free and open in the world and just exploring in a way that feels like it's so hard to do right now.
Ultimately, when we make these things, it's a combination of a lot of different artists. And I'll include Nadji Jeter, who played Miles Morales so brilliantly in Marvel Spider-Man and in their sequel, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. We'd often just ask Nadji to be Nadji, right? It's like, how do we make sure when he's doing any movement on screen that he's bringing himself into this character? When he's in the sound booth, how can he put a spin on the words that we wrote? If something didn't feel right, we would make changes on the fly. And there is the other aspect of his personality too. So we would have Spanish language experts. We even had ASL experts that came in, because we added ASL as a part of our Miles Morales' repertoire. And having having these people come in to inform, once again I use the word specificity of the character, just made him more human and made you believe in him and, you know, fall in love with him.
You can see everybody's fingerprints in the clay, but at a certain point you can't distinguish whose hand it came from, you know? You can see your idea clearly. I can go, oh yeah, I thought of doing that. But in the very next second, there's something that happens where you know that Phil or Bob or Rodney or, you know, Justin, our production designer, or Chris took your idea and melded it with something else. It all flows together so organically by the time we were done.